I grew up in Brooklyn. So it was about playing outdoors, we called it the pump. What do you call it? The fire hydrant. Mm-hmm. We would open that up and it was just having fun. And I remember 30, 40 kids from the block playing together. Welcome to Real Talk. I'm Alexandra.
And I'm Jamie.
And together we're the hosts of Real Talk, where we are ready to have those candid conversations.
That's right. We're breaking through the small talk barriers to bring you real, raw, and unfiltered discussions.
That's right. We're going to tackle those taboo conversations that you're dying to have.
From mental health to love, to societal norms, personal journeys. We're going to be extending our reach into the entrepreneurship and business. We're not going to leave any stone unturned.
That's right. And we're not going to do it alone. We're going to do it with some great community members and leaders, and they're going to help us on this roller coaster of candid conversations.
Expect in-depth discussions. We're not going to scratch that surface. We're going to dig down deep into the real conversations.
And that's right. So get ready to have some real talk. Jamie, excited to be here once again.
Yes. You know what? We have had such great people on our shows.
Yes.
It's amazing. We've been so blessed. We've had great conversations. And I've gotten away not talking about sex.
And once again, for the record, who's bringing it up? Just saying.
Hey,
just
after 30 years of marriage, what are you going to tell?
But let me not forget to mention, thank you for tuning in. And don't forget to download the app, Latino Mixx. That's Mixx with double X. And follow us. Follow Real Talk Long Island on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram.
You know what? And we also follow Flutterflies. You know what? Do we have something coming up?
Yes, we do. So we spoke in the previous podcast, we spoke about Flutterflies. Flutterflies is a women's empowerment organization, and we have our first evening gala coming up on March 23rd.
Get those pantyhose out and all those those gowns to go with the pearls, your diamonds. Let's go. It's going to be a gala.
Absolutely. So if you want more information, follow flutterfliesmovement.com. That's our website. Check out all the information is there. We hope to see you. And please purchase your ticket early. Early bird tickets are $125, and that includes with open bar. So you can't beat that.
Oh, I need to get a designated driver.
That's right. That is right.
You know what? Now I just want to, you know what? We're having so much fun lately. I just want to ask you what's going on in this world.
Well, I'll tell you that February, winter, some of us suffer during the winter months. I think there's the good and the bad, right? Sometimes let's talk about the good, right? Mm-hmm. Good with winter months, you get to stay in a little bit more, you get to cuddle, you do all those great things. But also, we have to remember some individuals suffer during these fall and winter seasons. Less daylight, less time to be with friends and family because it's too cold, it's snowing, we can't get together, holidays kick in. And I think our world is really suffering because too much, I love technology because that's why we're here today, mm-hmm. right? But it has its downfalls as well. So, I think this time of the season is a little difficult for many.
You know what? We are overstimulated. And I can remember as a kid, we didn't really know everything that was going on in the world. And now it's like the world is just upside down. And it's created such a vortex where I see so many people are suffering instead of being, and in the old days, what we didn't know didn't hurt us. But nowadays, it's really kind of crazy what's going on in this world. And, I don't know about you, but when you were a kid, did you ever hear of another kid committing suicide?
Well, no, it's not like you hear it today, right? But again, we didn't have the technology you have now. So I think we were very protective because we didn't have the cell phone and the internet and all that where you can get information no matter how much now you try to protect your children from certain news they're going to find out one way or another, or their friend is going to find out, they're going to share. So I think we were very protective when we were younger at our age, right? Now I think children have access to too much, and a lot of it, they should not be, it should not be shared with them.
Keeping up with the Joneses too. You know what?
Oh God.
You know what? The kids are seeing this kid has this and that kid has that, and I don't have. Back in the day, we didn't care about that. We didn't even know what anyone else had.
But you know what? Back then, I'm going to go back to the 70s, right?
I can go back to the 60s.
In the 70s, let's say late 70s, I grew up in Brooklyn. So it was about playing outdoors, we called it the pump. What do you call it? The fire hydrant. We would open that up, and it was just having fun. And I remember 30, 40 kids from the block playing together with the freezing water from the fire hydrant, playing Ring Around the Rosie, playing freeze tag. And I used to be extremely shy as a child. And I remember my parents used to push me to go play. And I remember there was a brother and sister, they really took me by the hand, and I would play with them. But I remember it just being, and another thing, the neighbors looked out after each other, right? So if you did something wrong.
Oh, no.
You were going to hear it from the neighbor and probably even get a little spank from the neighbor.
Yep.
Neighbor would tell mom or dad, and you would get another whipping.
And it was always the little birdie told your parents. Who the little birdie was, I never knew. But I can remember one time crossing the airport in Bayport. I wasn't allowed to do that. And I got home, and my mother was on the other side of the path. And I was like, how did you know this? And she said, the little birdie told me. It was the neighbor's kid. I know it. Now, when you were a kid, how did you know what time it was to go home?
Well, first of all, if you knew that it was dark out, you had to be home, right?
For us,
that
it was the street
one.
lights.
You had to be home. But I was really blessed because I grew up, this is a joke in my family. The first 5 years of my life were amazing because I was the only child for first 5 years of my life. But I had my uncle, my grandparents around, so I was very spoiled. So I remember nights just being in the front stoop with my grandpa, eating a lot of candy because, again, I was shy and very, very heavy. So that's why I have a sweet tooth to this day. But it was a whole different world. And I feel the children today miss out on being a child.
I agree.
They want to grow up so fast. So even when we were doing our workshops with Wings of Empowerment, I would tell them, enjoy being young. Because once you graduate, is a whole different world. And once you become a parent, is a whole different world.
Absolutely. We still have game night. My grandkids and my daughter, my husband, my mom, Heather, Nicole, we sit there and we do game night. We'll play cards. We play this game called Kids Against Maturity, which is really a kid's version of humanity. Something against
War
humanity.
Against
No,
humanity?
I forget what it's called, but there's some things on that game I don't really
we
like.
played that. Yeah, that's not a child's game. But again, keeping a young heart is very important. I think the adults in my family were sillier than the younger children, the younger kids. And I love that because now I get to become a child again with my grandson. So I enjoy that, getting dressed up for Halloween. But then you see these teenagers or middle schoolers, they don't want to, act silly. They don't want to get dressed up for Halloween. And I'm like, wow, you're not going to be that age forever where you can get away with it and you're a kid, right? I don't know.
And I think that affects the children, and that's what's going on these days. You know what? They're so overstimulated. They have too much information. They have too many things.
Yes.
Too many things. I think sometimes we had less, and less is more.
I agree. So I know today we're going to be talking about, February is still the month of love and relationships. but very important to talk about mental health. And we're going to be touching on that today. We have a great guest. We're going to have Elaine Grimes, which I'm so happy to share that she's one of our 2024 Flutterflies honorees. So she's going to be joining us momentarily.
And if you come March 23rd, you'll get to meet her in person.
That's right. So please stay tuned.
Transpórtate a otra dimensión con Latino Mixx. Latino Mixx. Dale play a tu bocina.
Welcome back to Real Talk Long Island with Alexandra and Jamie. And we have someone here with us. Alexandra, can you tell us a little bit about
That's
our guest?
right. We're excited because we have Elaine Grimes with us today. She is one of our co-authors from our second book, My Journey from Caterpillar to Butterfly. And she's going to share a little bit about her story. And very exciting, she is also one of our 2024 Flutterflies honorees. So congratulations, Elaine.
Congratulations.
Thank you
And
very
please
much.
share a little bit about who Elaine is.
Let's see. Elaine is an everyday mother who has big dreams, big passions. I am a compassionate, forgiving, accepting person. And I think with that, I was able to create this fitness company with my husband because Raymond teaches personal training. I teach yoga and the idea of self-care and digging into that in a person, minus everyday life, everyday struggles. And when we are with our clients, we don't look at them that way. We know about not just what's going on with their bodies and
Right.
what injuries to prevent, but also to who's having a baby, who's going to college, who's doing this, because we know that fitness and self-care goes beyond physical.
Absolutely.
It goes beyond physical. And I think with how much we love what we do, we take that and we add that into sharing it with whomever, what Raymond says, whomever, we just open the door and it's a matter of you coming in.
That's
And-
That's great.
Yeah.
So first, a huge shout out to Ray.
Hi, Ray.
We used to train with him. We had the Flutterflies center, and we would ask who's coming to give the class, Ray or Elaine. We would hear Ray, and we're like, oh my goodness gracious, because he's tough. But he was good. And then, I don't know, it rubbed off with Elaine because now we're like, oh, snap, she's going to give the class. But they're great. You guys are an amazing couple, amazing human being. But Elaine, I want us to talk a little bit about the book that you were in, our second book. You shared a story where the Elaine that we see here was not the Elaine that we learned about in the book. Mm-hmm. So do you mind, because February is about mental health, and mental health also comes to self-care. So if you don't mind sharing just a glimpse of who Elaine used to be.
Oh, wow. Elaine used to be a very spineless person. I did not stick up for myself. I didn't have a voice. I didn't know how to have a voice. So my first marriage was a toxic and abusive one. And unfortunately, I had chosen a man that I thought loved me over my children. Up until I had my daughter. My daughter was 3 weeks old, and when I looked at this little baby girl, I said, I never wanted her to think that this is normal, that this is okay. And as much as I loved him, as much as I thought that if I do X, Y, and Z, then he'll change, it'll be better, blah blah blah. That did not happen. So I had to really dig deep, become a provider and a caretaker, and emotionally be the mother and the father, in order to have healthy children, mentally healthy children. And for that it created this strength in me that really can't be taught in any book, unfortunately. And nobody would ever want to experience that anyway. But it created this strength in me. And then when I met my husband, that became a different person that he had met. Although, of course, coming in with baggage and so on. But you know that if you really love somebody, that that's just the layer. It's not really the core of who you are.
Right.
And so because of that, we created this really accepting, loving family. And when people hear that this was my past, they're like, oh, really? Because here I am and I'm doing like 250-pound deadlifts and stuff like that. They're like, oh, wow. They're like, oh, yeah, this was not me.
That's amazing.
This was not me.
Now, were you a blended family? His, hers, and ours, or?
Right now?
Yeah.
So my husband has a 32-year-old son, and he's in Maine. He lives by his mom, and he has children too. And then I have my older two, which is from my first husband, 27 and 21. And then Raymond and I together, we have a 17-year-old. And my favorite thing, honestly, my favorite thing is that, you say blended family stuff, but there's no stepbrother, there's no half-brother, half-sister, there's none of that,
Yeah, we didn't do that either.
Yeah.
We're his, hers, and ours.
Yeah.
And I think it's so much better when you don't do that step, and it's one family. We range from 36, I can't believe I have a 36-year-old, down to 22.
Yeah.
How does that work for you?
Oh, with age differences?
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, so it's funny because even if you take the ones that live with us, 27, 21, 17, when they were younger, it was much harder because, you have my, for example, the two at the end, you have my 7-year-old and my 17-year-old, and I didn't know any better. So, every time, my 17-year-old go and try and like make new friends or like talk to a girl or something, like bring your brother. And he'd be like, oh my God, Mom, what are you doing? Raven had to tell me, he's like, can you just like, just keep him with us. I'm like, take your brother with you. I was like, because, Romero used to just tag on to his brother, whatever he did. But now that they're older, it just seems that the way that they can talk to one another, they talk about, life experiences. They talk about school. They talk about, they prep him for Romero. This is how college is going to be. Or, when Romero has questions, he asks his brother and sister, how do you do an interview? How do you do this and that or whatever?
That's great.
But when they were younger, I mean, had one playing with Pokemon, the other one is taking AP exams.
Yeah.
It's just two totally different things.
Been there.
They didn't have much in common back then, but now that has changed.
Yeah, it did. It definitely grew. They grew together. They evolved together.
That's awesome. So, Elaine, with your journey, again, the Elaine we see today here is totally different from Elaine back then. So you had that journey of domestic violence, right? Mm-hmm. You came out of it, and you also went through another journey of your weight.
Yes.
Yes. So share a little bit about that, because we see, when I first met you, you looked amazing because you were already a yoga instructor. And then I started learning of your journey. I first learned about your weight journey before I learned about this journey that you write in the book. Mm. So share a little bit about, because I know in the book you shared that Ray was going into surgery, so he was losing the weight, and you saw yourself differently. So it was like, the self-doubt started kicking in as well. So if you don't mind sharing a little bit about that.
Yeah. So Raymond had a bariatric surgery. Actually, he's 10 years out. So he had a bariatric surgery, and he was able to lose 100 pounds, and keep it off too, which is something that's, a lot of people weren't able to do.
No.
But when Raymond was when Raymond was losing the weight, and when he was, and he was like, getting smaller clothes and all this and that, and going back to the gym, because before he would go to the gym, but, now he was really going to the gym, and he always loved weights. So here I am, I'm just like, oh, you're going to the gym. And here I am on the sofa, I'm watching TV. I'm doing like anything else, but because athletic was not, I didn't do any sports. When we were in high school and you do the mile, I walked, without a doubt. I wouldn't even try. I would just walk, So now, I'm seeing my husband, and we're creating new friendships, So our friends, they did CrossFit, they ran marathons, just these were Raymond's people, and then here I am just watching on the side, like, what's going on. And so then when I did start, I started only because I was fearful, so all of this confidence that I had built, standing up to my first husband and stuff, now all of a sudden it's just like it disappeared. And I was like, now I'm scared again. I was like, okay. I was just like, okay, this guy's going to meet somebody and whatever. And I was just like, okay, I need to do something, So, I really didn't start because I was like, I want to be healthy. I want to be, I want to be there for my kids and blah, blah. I started because I was scared that he was going to leave and find somebody else.
That's common. Myself, too. When I had my gastric bypass 21 years ago.
Oh, wow. Congrats.
I started it, and it's a tool. The doctors don't tell you it's a tool.
Yeah.
And I've been up and down, but I did it because I was afraid I was going to lose my husband because I was so heavy. Not that he always tells everyone he's had 2 wives. He's had the big fat wife and he's got the, fit wife.
Raymond, that's funny because Raymond's like, well, I knew you loved me because I was fat and broke.
Well, that's how
he's like,
I
that's
know
how
my
I knew you
husband
loved
loves
me.
because he had the big heavy wife and he was there, even though his friends made fun of him.
Yeah.
And now he's still by my side 30 years later.
Yes,
Awesome.
yes,
32
beautiful.
years.
Yeah, and so when I did start my journey, it was, again, my intention wasn't genuine. It was genuine to my fear and my insecurities. It was genuine to that, but it wasn't the true meaning of why you would go and start taking care of yourself, eating better and stuff. So as any fitness journey starts, it evolved, and then it became into wow, like I'm feeling a little stronger. I can lift 10 pounds instead of 5. And then slowly you start like, wow, it's like, I can do this and I can do this. And then it did. And it evolved into like, I want to learn yoga. It evolved in like, I wanted to try CrossFit. And then it just evolved into these different things where I started to say, you know what? If he leaves, he leaves.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? If he leaves, he leaves. And of course, that was all in my head. It wasn't even anything that he said to me. It was just all in my head. And then again, it turned into something where we do it together. Right. Yeah.
And I think it had to do also, you were still healing. You were still healing. So we're going to take a break. And when we come back, I want you to share where you have healed, right? You have found that confidence, where to the point she got on stage on an incy bikini to show off her physique. So she's going to share a little bit more about that when we get back.
Latino Mixx es pura candela. Dale play a tu bocina.
Welcome back to Real Talk. Thank you for joining us, and we're extremely excited to continue the conversation with Elaine Grimes. She's sharing her journey from Elaine, low self-esteem, and like you said, spineless, to Elaine today, where she's a not yoga instructor. It has another name, does it? Or is it a yogi, yeah. Right?
I'm a yogi too.
A yogi. Yeah. Has a business with her husband. And to the point where we left off is you got on stage and you did a bodybuilding. Yeah. You competed in a bodybuilding contest. And this little incy bikini. You looked amazing. She looked hot. She looked hot. Then she had those heels. Girl, tell us, how did that feel? Did you ever imagine you being on a stage, all these eyes on you, and you with this little, I'm telling you, tiny bikini.
Have you ever seen the bodybuilding bikinis? They're not bikinis, they're strings.
She looked amazing.
Threads.
So tell us a little bit about that experience. And how did you get there?
Oh, how I got there. Well, I was already working out for a while. So Raymond and I, we already built this and this regimen. And we reconnected with his nephew, who just earned his pro bodybuilding card. And it was just one of those where, you're on Facebook, this and that, and you're talking and stuff. And then slowly but surely, he became our trainer. So becoming our trainer now, we had different people to answer to. So we couldn't answer to one another. It couldn't be like, oh, I'm tired, I'm going to sleep in or whatever. We had to answer to somebody totally different.
Right.
Yeah.
With that experience, it was the workout part, believe it or not, was the easier part, because, you're adding weight, you have somebody doing your program. The struggle was the food. Mm-hmm. The struggle was stepping away from social events, or separating, detaching, because, social events are around food. So, and also too, like, supplements, taking like certain vitamins and, just to manage ourselves. But the, like I said, the biggest issue was food, protein, getting protein in, that was the hardest part too. And you were always eating. I was always eating, but I was hungry because it wasn't what I wanted.
Right.
It's just like tons of water. So the discipline that was created, that led us up to being on stage was, it just surprised me because I didn't think, honestly, that I would have a discipline, especially when it came around food, because I love to eat. I love all kinds of things. So the discipline that came when we were approaching the show, we're talking about, let's say, okay, so let's go to 1 week prior. Okay, 1 week prior, we are now down from 1,300 calories a day down to 750 a day.
I would die. I like to eat too much.
Like 750 is like my favorite sandwich. It's like a Big Mac. It's like my favorite thing. And that was like the whole day.
Wow.
So now we're going down to about 750 calories a day. 2 days the actual competition now, we are down to 2 to 4 ounces of carbs every 2 hours just to keep our bodies, just to keep our organs moving. Just to keep our digestive.
I would be dead.
And then
okay.
Yeah, no.
And then a bottle of 8 ounces of water per day, only if needed.
Per day,
only
wow.
if needed. And we're now going down to like the last 2. So we really just Jamie's face. So we really
I can't imagine 8 ounces of water a day, just 8 ounces of water a day.
Yeah, the last 2 days, because they want you to have the most minimal amount of water between your skin and the muscle in order to show definition and and whatever striations that you have, and and really all of your hard work. So Raymond and I, we worked on it for 8 months. So to have 8 months worth of work on stage and then for it to be judged, as if you were a textbook, and see all of the definitions and everything. It was, honestly, it's really funny because, the confidence that I had built when it was like, I felt like I was walking out in like a jumpsuit.
Really?
Like
That's awesome.
It really didn't faze me. Like, you would have thought, I think about it now and I'm like, wow, it's like, I can't believe I did that. But, it was like walking out like, okay, I was like, all right, I have 5-inch heels and I'm posing and I'm walking around, like you said, in this little bikini. But it was like as if I was walking around in just like my scrubs at work.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is. So what did Ray say when he saw you, getting ready? Did he congratulate you, or what was his attitude seeing you in this little bikini, getting ready to go on stage?
Yeah, we have fun. You know us. Yeah, so we were having fun backstage, and so he did. He did his. Because Raymond and I, we competed together. So I was in the audience, and of course, I'm yelling and I'm doing my woo, I'm doing all this stuff, and vice versa to him. And when he had seen me, the amount of pride that he had,
Awesome.
the fact that it was something that he knew was not in my system when he first met me. He's like this. We were like part of this 1% that actually finished and made it up to actually walking on to the stage. It was,
wow.
Yeah, it was a moment.
Now, do you think you'll do it again?
Yeah.
You are?
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
This year or?
No, not this year.
Not this year.
Yeah, no, not this year. Probably in a couple years, maybe next year or the year after. In a couple years, my body's changing. So I have to get through that first.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, we've been talking off air about menopause and stuff like that. Someone, not going to mention names, swears she hasn't gone through it, but okay.
Oh my gosh, really?
No, but you know what? I had hysterectomy, and they said that you may not really. I have my ovaries, and they left that, but they said you may not actually feel it.
Oh,
That's awesome.
So-
I just go through the hot flashes once in a blue when it wants to, but anyway.
You have your own personal summer.
Yeah, but I love summer, but I need to be dressed accordingly.
So you could get a bikini like that.
I wish I could put a bikini like Elaine did.
you can.
And it's all about discipline. You can pretty much do everything, but you have to have the discipline. I don't have the discipline, especially when I'm very stressed or very overwhelmed. I can either eat too much or I don't eat enough. So it's either one or the other, and it's not healthy either way.
Right.
But Elaine, let's talk a little bit about this amazing event coming up on March 23rd, where you're going to be recognized. So it's March 23rd. It's our 8th. Can you believe it's number 8?
I can't believe it's number 8. I remember number 1.
Number 8.
I didn't really know you.
I know.
But I went.
Yes, you
Yeah.
were there. The 8th annual Flutterflies Women's Empowerment Luncheon. Actually, not luncheon.
Actually, it's not luncheon,
I'm so
it's a
used to
gala
saying
this time.
luncheon. This is our first evening gala. It's going to be out in Captain Bill's in Bayshore. So
Right
we're
on the
looking
water.
Yes.
Beautiful.
So we're looking to celebrating with you, and you're going to be receiving, if I'm not mistaken, it's the Rising Star Award. So I know I called you and I was like, are you busy March 23rd? So when you heard the news that you were going to be recognized, what does that mean to you?
You know, it's so funny because when you told me about it, what it meant to me was that I can be me. I can be me. I can be this person, like I said, this everyday person, just like anybody else on the street. And I can be this person, this caring, loving, compassionate, strong. This person, you can be it naturally and have it be recognized, because you care about people. And what it meant to me is that now it's an opportunity to take that and to share it with other people, and that if they want to, or if there's something about Raymond and I that they click with, that they find intriguing, that they want to work with,
Right.
It's an opportunity to let them know that, self-care is so important, and it's so important in many different ways. So, yeah, I was really surprised because when you called me, I was like, wait, what did I do? I was like, what did I do? I was like, I don't.
No, she's trying to sell me tickets. That's what probably wrapped her up so early. She wants to sell me a couple of tickets. No, but every recognition that Flutterflies gives, it's more about, some people, I get nominations, or we get nominations, so you're part of the advisory board. We get nominations, and it's about they do amazing at their 9-to-5 job. Congratulations, right? You should. You get paid to do that, right? But let your job give you recognition for that. With us, it's more about your journey. What are you doing now? How are you involved in the community? Your whole attitude, And I do take a peek at people's Facebook pages. Hey, if employments do that now, so do I. And it's all about how are you empowering others? How are you an inspiration to others? And you checked off all the boxes, to be honest with you. You
Thank
do.
you so
I agree.
Right?
Yeah, I agree. Because there's sometimes we get some, we sit down as a group and we go over all of the nominations, and it's not easy sometimes.
It's not.
Because sometimes we get such amazing women and we got to cut it down. And then she gets mad at me because I'll be like, really? Really? But we've been to, different events when there's like 30 people being honored, and by the time at the end of the night, everyone's done. It's just enough.
And you know what? I'm going to touch on that a little bit. I don't think it's fair to the honoree, because it's about, you having the spotlight. Again, excuse me, I don't look down at any event that honors 30, 40 people. And some of them do make sense, because I went to an event, it was under 40, It was an amazing event, but they all had the spotlight at some point. But when you have events and you're not giving that honoree the spotlight they deserve, I just don't find it fair,
Right.
So we do have this year, we actually have a little bit more than I think we have 10 to 12. We usually have 8 to 10. So we have just 2 more than we typically do. But they're all amazing. They're all amazing. And it was very hard because we got a lot of nominations.
Yes, we did.
I'm so happy. And again, guys, check out flutterfliesmovement.com and you'll see a history of Flutterflies. You'll see all these photos from past events and you'll see all the events coming up. So I hope to see you on March 23rd. But Elaine, we look so forward to celebrating with you, having people getting to know you. So it's going to be a blast.
Elaine, how do people get in touch with you?
You can find us on grimesfitness.com. Also on Instagram, you can find me at Fierce Yogi. And you can also find us on Grimes Fitness Long Island, also on Facebook and on Instagram.
Awesome.
Yeah, because after people hear you and they're going to say, you know what, I want to look into them. I want to get in touch with them. How can I get be part of this? Because your story is inspiring.
Oh, thank you.
It is.
Thank you.
And you're definitely an inspiration, not only for women, but I think for young women as well. So we have a lot more to talk about, but we're going to take a little break. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we should hear some music.
Transpórtate a otra dimensión con Latino Mixx. Latino Mixx. Dale play a tu bocina.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the music. You're listening to Alex and Jamie, and we have a great guest at Real Talk Long Island. Alex?
That's right. We had a blast today. Thank you, Elaine Grimes, for joining us today. And don't forget you get the opportunity to meet her in person on March 23rd at our Flutterflies Gala, which is taking place at Captain Bill's March 23rd. So we look forward to celebrating with you, Elaine, and all the other great honorees. So be sure, to check out flutterfliesmovement.com and don't forget to follow Real Talk
Long Island.
That's right, on
Facebook,
YouTube, Facebook, Instagram.
Instagram.
And by now, I'm sure everyone has downloaded the app for Latino Mixx. That's MIXXXX. And you're going to be tuning in and listening to this great podcast as well as all the other great podcasts on Latino Mixx.
And there's also great music.
Absolutely. So again, thank you, Elaine, for joining us. Any final words?
I always end things when I write people onward and upward. So I would like to share that with you too. Onward and upward to you.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Thank you for joining us on Real Talk.